Keep it alive through these lines I write. I keep it live cause I thrive. I might just blow your mind tonight. I'm so hyped, but it's no hype. From this height, it's direct hits on sight. I'm your type, lend me your ears to show you that there's something in me. I'm not giving up, I'm standing right here, holding these days hostage. And I'll make this my year. We turning fear into love, and the love's in the air. I love doing this cause nothing compares. Nothing can share that same type of feeling when you feeling and flare. They can't catch it, it's havoc. I rip to a tear, switch a scenario on stereos, I leave them impaired. Variables start to change and they're all in my range. I just gotta grab it, it's all mathematics. Every step is drastic, I make it fantastic. I'm trying to take your breath away. Asthmatic.
This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo.
Yeah, just nod your head with it, so explicit and vivid. Every image is intricate, intimate. I put my all into it, no scrimmage and no rules. I'm a pro tool, hear my heartbeat, beat into the vocals. I'm so loco, lost my mind, oh no. It's ponderoso, dope, so no overdose, cause it's dope, yo. Man, this is house grown, mixed with some milestones. So I let the style flow down like the Dow Jones, bringing it with some foul tones, letting the crowd know we getting loud, so it's eardrum rudiments. Yeah, we bring it rude again. Move, little hooligan. Music for tuning in, full time to the 10. I'm on my clock like I told you. I'm doing this for dreams we pursuing.
Welcome to the Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2015 edition of Anti-Media Radio. This is your host, S.M. Gibson, joined in the studio tonight with our producer, Mr. Shannon Madden. How you doing tonight?
Happy February.
Before we get started tonight, I'm going to go over today's top stories. We've got a lot going on in the world right now. I'm sure everybody's heard about the vaccine debate going on. We'll get into that here in a little bit. We've also got a Jordanian pilot who was burned alive by ISIS on video that looked more similar to a Kid Rock video than it did something meant to scare you.
I was kind of surprised there wasn't like a Slipknot song playing in the background. It really was like that. No offense to Slipknot.
We've also got the Argentine president wrapped up in a scandal. Down in Buenos Aires, Cristina Fernandez Kirchner, CFK as she's called.
Wow.
Yeah, we're definitely going to dive into that. Big scandal going on there. We've also got the NYPD with their saying that they're going to carry machine guns in protest with their strategic response group. Well, they've backed off of that. We talked about that last week. 77th Brigade, where they're basically telling you you are the enemy, and we are going to be all over social media coming for you.
I don't think there's really any debate. I am the enemy. I mean, you are definitely the enemy. We can go back and look at some. I'm the
enemy of lies.
Yeah.
So if liars are my enemy, then you know what? I feel like I'm in good company.
Yeah, that really is the truth.
If anybody would like to call into the show tonight, please feel free. Area code 718-717-8296 is our call-in telephone number. Again, that's 718-717-8296.
Don't be a baby. Let's talk about it.
So, where do we even begin?
Gosh, I'm going to tell you what. The whole Argentina... the thing going in Argentina right now is really, really sick. That is a wild story.
It's really interesting. For those of y'all that don't know, we've got a story up on the antimedia.org about it. But basically what has happened is on January the 18th, there is a prosecutor that was found dead with a bullet in his brain in his apartment.
Yeah.
On January the 19th, he was scheduled to go before the Argentinian Congress and talk about a situation that the foreign minister and the president had been involved in all in regards to covering up a bombing that took place at a Jewish center in 1994 in Buenos Aires. So on Sunday, it was started to be reported that they found in his trash can of the prosecutor a 26-page warrant for the arrest of the president and the foreign minister.
They found 26 pages. Now look,
That was drafted by him.
I've written things before. I've never written 26 pages of consecutive document. Looked at all 26 pages, going through all the 26 pages, looked at it and said, you know what? No, this is crap. Wadded it up.
I'm going to throw it away right
that
before they put a bullet.
That doesn't happen. That does not happen.
And so he's got the warrant out for him. Yesterday, the prosecutor that's handling his murder investigation, or whatever they want to call it, because at one point it was suicide.
No, it definitely
Right.
It was initially, and that's the cool part about this. It was initially ruled a suicide, and then suddenly the Argentinian president, who was pretty much fixing to go up against this guy, automatically after a day of public backlash and so on and so forth, rules this as, well, okay, maybe there is something a little suspicious about
So
this.
Prosecutor Fine yesterday said that there is no warrant. I don't know what you're talking about. And then today, well, yeah, man, yeah, there was.
Well, here's the kicker. The Argentinian president went ahead and declared,
And this all goes back to
what?
Iran.
You know what? This has actually got something to do with some rogue members of the Argentinian version of the CIA.
The Secretary of Intelligence.
Yes.
It goes back. She claims, well, it's some rogue members, and she presented a bill to Congress to shut it down, the entire ministry.
And bring
Right.
her own people on board to establish this new Argentinian version of the CIA.
This intelligence organization. It's hard to say. There's so much going on. You don't really know the truth yet. We're still going through it. We know that Iran is very possibly involved. Or maybe Iran's not involved and Israel's involved.
Reading the story, which truth do you really want to believe?
Right.
I mean, the truth is ever changing in this story.
She had supposedly covered up for Iranian officials who were involved in the bombing back in 1994. That's where this all stemmed from. And he had the information, supposedly, that he was going to present to the Argentinian Congress and say, well, we've got this information and you have covered up for these people. Mm-hmm. And we were going over some stuff earlier and noticed that she's had a lot of dealings with Iran through her presidency. And before, really.
Yeah.
So...
and you don't have to look very far. I'm total disclaimer here. A vast majority of the information that we're talking about,
not me. I don't trust what he's about to say.
You can click on Wikipedia and find
my
out.
info did not come from that because I do not trust that information.
And bear in mind, that was not where we stopped with our information. That's kind of what led us into further avenues, but you don't have to really go very far, and you don't have to stop at Wikipedia. You can log on any of your, initial Google sources and see a lot of the same thing coming up. It's really,
but just news reports,
really uncanny.
News reports through the years.
And we have kind of gotten conditioned in America to, search for the truth, but this is a story that you really don't have to search very far for. And there's a lot of, very wide range of news sources that are all saying the same thing. This is a really fascinating story, and I encourage everybody that's listening to this to go check it out.
Yeah, it's almost like a real-life soap opera going on in Argentina. But let's jump to some other news going on in the world. So let me ask you: have you been vaccinated?
I'm a man of a certain age, so yeah, it was kind of pretty much,
Did you get your measles? Are you protecting yourself?
Well, let's not beat around the bush. Yes, I am circumcised. Next question.
So, Rand Paul, Chris Christie,
I know that guy,
and the world,
wow,
are basically in a fight with each other,
yeah.
and Do you really believe that the government should be able to tell you to stick a needle in your arm? The same group of people that scream for women's rights, you should have the right to choose, you should have the right to your own body. You know what? We need to put a needle in you to keep me safe.
It's just a little tiny little needle.
It's just there's nothing in it.
It's just a little
It's
prick.
just going to keep you safe.
It's just a little prick.
It's just going to keep you safe. Now, I subscribe to the theory that if the government tells me something's good for me, I know it's probably bad for me.
Yeah.
Are there any instances where that's not really been the case? They love you. The government loves you. They just don't want you to be sick. That's
No,
it.
and not get any of their other.
Let's talk about the thousands of people that have died from the measles in the U.S. in the past 10 years. Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Actually, there's zero.
Well,
zero people.
Now, again, you can
in the
ahead,
U.S.
You can go ahead and look on the other side of that, and of course, the other side will claim, well, that's because everybody's been vaccinated up to this point.
Well, that's true, and actually, according to the National Vaccine Information Center, 108 people have died from the vaccine in the past 10 years. So zero deaths from the measles, 108 from the National Vaccine Information Center. And for people that I know are going to be out there saying, well, who are they? I don't, what. The CDC claims 69 just alone. And, the CDC is very trustworthy. They would never fool with the
numbers.
numbers.
Are people that have died. Those are not including the numbers of people that have been afflicted with illnesses, living illnesses, that they've had to deal with for the remainder of their lives.
Go look at the little sheet of paper that comes with the medication at your local CVS. Go ask them for it and see what it says in there. It says, can possibly give you the measles.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
So, but government mandate.
Yeah.
Government mandate. Rand Paul's in trouble for advocating for freedom. Chris Christie. We have a caller calling in right now, area code 619. Looks like we lost a caller. Hopefully they'll call back. But so we've got two very, very famous politicians, popular. I'm personally not a fan of really any politician. If I had to choose between Christie and Paul, I would definitely choose Paul more because of his father. But getting in trouble because they say, you know what, you have a right to your body. You have a right to choose. You have a right to choose if you want to vaccinate your child or do you want to vaccinate yourself. That's it. They're advocating for freedom. The last time I checked, don't we live in the land of freedom?
Yeah, and
wasn't Chris Kyle protecting us for our freedoms?
Oh, don't get me started on that. Speaking of which, since we're on the subject, just for half a second, have you seen American Sniper?
Well, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. And I'm a huge. Let me go ahead and get off. We're going to get off subject just for a second.
Propaganda.
I am a big Clint Eastwood fan. I think he's an absolutely wonderful filmmaker. Unforgiven is probably one of my favorite movies ever. This is one of the biggest. Wow. I mean, there are so many adjectives and phrases that come to mind. So
basically what you're saying, you loved it that much.
Yeah, I loved it.
Is love the word, or is it?
I loved it so much that I couldn't.
Is there another four-letter word you'd like to use?
About 4 minutes, 40 minutes of the film, I was ready to clock out. It was like that. And it was an okay made film. I mean, it adhered to all of the Hollywood standards of a good film, but it was such a piece of crap. It really was. And it was a piece of crap in the fact that it really was stirring up a lot of some sort of weird American sentiment that I really couldn't even understand. I mean, it really was a 2015 version of Nation's Pride. And
that's heavy.
Yeah, and it
that's
really
heavy
was.
and
this is from having seen the film from beginning to end. Yes, it was like that. Really
I tell you what, we'll jump back on the vaccine topic here in a minute.
Please.
But while we're talking about Hollywood, Why don't we talk about the ISIS video that's been released?
Man, that was a slick piece of production.
I tell you what, it's literally
It was
like it's a Kid Rock
I mean,
video with the
and
WWE.
again, if it really did happen to that Jordanian prisoner,
That's horrible, right?
I mean, that was gut wrenching, but at the same time, it really was versus all of the other grainy, Al Qaeda and back when Osama bin Laden was doing his thing, all of those,
Yeah, absolutely,
Betamax videos in a cave kind of thing. This was really an incredible piece of production.
It's well produced.
It really was very well produced. The music was right.
I tell you what, if they ever
faded in and out when it was, hell, I expected a star wipe at any point in time. And that right there, and in and of itself, when we're talking about the production of it, draws suspicion to the actual subject itself.
Oh, and it does.
It really, not just the subject or the fact that it happened, because we know that ISIS is a real thing. There is a real faction in Muslim, in the Muslim
which was
territory.
funded by, yeah.
No, come on, man. American dollars don't go into that shit, does it?
Okay, am I the only one that noticed how that the members of ISIS were dressed in today's video? They weren't dressed in their normal ninja Cobra outfits.
No, they had some sort of new cut. They had some sort of.
It was a new Cobra outfit.
Yeah, it really was. It was like a sand, like the sand.
There's obvious, right? There's definitely
with a kung fu grip,
there's definitely showing off the fact that there's a lot of money behind them. They want people to, I guess, see that somebody's pumping a bunch of money in. Now we know for a fact that they were being funded by Saudi Arabia. While King Abdul was alive, that's on record from everywhere.
Absolutely.
And yet this man just died that was funding ISIS, and he just died, and Obama goes over there and goes to his funeral, and we're sitting here writing papers about the guy, about what a hero he is, and the Department of Defense is getting involved, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff is sponsoring an essay about the guy. Wow. It's like, that just goes to show you the channel of events that's going on here.
Yeah.
ISIS would not exist in any way, shape, or form if we had not gone overseas and stuck our nose in everybody's business.
Absolutely.
In one way, shape, or form, they were created by the United States. Now, were they completely created by the CIA? I don't know. Anything's a possibility.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that just their existence alone is based in the fact that we went over there and disrupted the entire region.
And and I can't stress this enough, what other resource does the Middle East have to offer us, the United States of America?
Do they have anything over there? Do they have anything we would need?
Oil.
Do they? Oil?
I think there's oil over
there. Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that.
Sand. Whenever there's sand, there's oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have something we would need.
Would. Oh,
so
shit, you're right.
So they have.
We do need oil, don't we?
So we would need to be over. So what you're saying is we should be over there to get this oil.
Oh man, if we're not over there, we can't get the oil.
No.
Oh man, it makes so much sense now.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, whole thing's a big smoke screen. And again, I'll tell you this.
Do we need oil though? I mean, really?
That's a whole different. We can get off of it.
Production has driven price down to absolutely nothing, even though OPEC is wringing their hands. It is very widely known, and let's go ahead and get it straight right now. And you've heard it here first, folks. Go ahead and get your gas and get a big old giant huge barrels of it, because after the summer, June, July, somewhere in that neighborhood, the price is going to go back up to where it was. And it's going to take a minute to get there, but it's definitely going back to where it was, and then some. Oil is a non-renewable resource, and there are so many renewable resources.
Absolutely.
Solar energy, electricity that can power cars and do all the other things that we require oil to do.
So what do you think about
Don't get me started on that.
I know that's a whole different beast. What do you think about the actual video in and of itself? Because I say that, and I'll tell you what, if these guys ever stop deciding to be terrorists, I'm telling you, they could be producers on the WWE.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's
crazy. The video was absolutely.
But there's cam screams, okay? There's sound effects of flames striking the
Even the music, the music
Right.
was freaking awesome. The production was,
Well, I wouldn't.
top notch.
It was just so
For a
produced, and
terrorist,
you've got the
for
other
a terrorist
video.
video, come on now, the production was top notch. It really was.
I mean, and the
And
point
it's
is, who do these people like think? What you've got you've got now Jordan, who's ready to execute 11 people. You've got Japan up in arms. What is any of this accomplishing? If you think about it, how is this going to work out for this group known as ISIS? All they're doing is one by one, country by country, just pissing them off.
Yeah.
To the point, we're going to come wipe these people out. All they're doing is creating a scenario for World War III.
Well, and you know,
But they're not doing anything. They're not doing themselves any favors.
Yeah.
What do they think is going to happen? We're going to kill this one reporter. We're going to kill this one pilot, and we're going to prove our point. We're going to put out a video, and it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
At the same time, though, at least they step their production values up. I'm just
Right. But that's not the point.
Some folks, at least go
But
and throw some special effects
But listen.
in, you know?
Think of it this way. What good does that do then? If you are an organization trying to do whatever they're trying to do, whatever evil plots they have, are involved in, what does anything they're doing, what purpose does it serve other than to cause fear? Okay, now, everybody knows that ISIS is contained to a certain region of the world. What would be the point? I guess, if you think we're just going to cause a bunch of fear, nobody's really scared. Who's really scared of ISIS? Are you scared of ISIS?
No, I can't say that I was.
Right. I don't think anybody is. But the fear is created. Who does the fear benefit? The fear benefits the corporations and the private contractors and the military-industrial complex. Because when the fear is generated throughout the society and the population of the United States, whether it be France with the recent attacks, or you've got Japan, or you've got Britain with their reporter that was killed, and now Jordan, the purpose that's going to serve is these people are now mad. We've got a reason to go into war because we've got their blood boiling. Let's go over into war. You see what they're doing.
Well, and again, where you're going with this is kind of where I'm at with watching
ISIS. It was from the cartoon on Comedy Central, that Archer show. That was the name of their organization. It sounds scary. We're ISIS. They're dressed like ninjas. They look like Cobra. Are you scared? Are you scared? It's a joke.
And actually, in the video, the guy was kind of dressed like,
he looked like Stormtrooper. He looked like a military version of Stormtrooper.
Cobra Commander.
Yeah, it was like Snake Eyes, man.
And that's kind of where I'm at with all this, because the production was so dramatically different from what we've seen come out of that region with these hostage videos. I'm sorry, the most terrifying thing to me is seeing some grainy VHS and it's not very steady and it's shaky, and there's beheading somebody, and like with the Daniel Pearl video. Have you ever had the stomach to watch that? I mean, it really is horrible video, but it really is horrifying in the fact that it has that grainy, I hate to even say it, the Blair Witch Project kind of feel to it.
Right.
This was a slick piece of production that really causes a lot of, it really is.
Well, we know the beheadings were on green screen.
It's like almost watching a Hollywood production in the fact that it really is, it looks like it could have been something that was easily constructed in the studio with
It's constructed
else.
To cause fear.
Nah, and it's not to denigrate what the Jordanian prisoner went through. And again,
no, not at all. That's what none of this is about.
There's a real family, and there is a real person attached to that. And let's not get that confused right now. But the way that it was put out, it almost depersonalizes it, what happens there. And there's that's something almost even sicker than you could possibly imagine. For somebody to actually try to capitalize on something.
But this is all done to create mass fear.
This was, done way more, to use the term from A Clockwork Orange, way more horror show than we've seen before.
Well, we've seen some, beheading videos and you see a little bit of cutting and you see a guy's head. But
Yeah.
I mean, this was definitely a different angle.
To see somebody lit on fire, but at the same time, it was so slick that it almost
It dehumanized it.
Yeah, it dehumanized it to a certain degree, and
It
that
did.
was the sickest part about the whole thing. It really was, because again, and I can't.
It was like
stress
a
this
Hollywood
enough,
production.
there is a person attached to the end of that, regardless of all the politics, regardless of all the
Right.
the
The
rhetoric that we
agenda.
have about it. There was a actual person that was involved in that, and a family that had to actually witness that. I'm sure the family's seen it by now.
Well, I think most of the world has seen it by now, and what I just cannot get my head around the fact that what we were talking about earlier is we know that they were funded by Saudi Arabia. We know that. Now, more than likely, they were also being funded by the United States through Syria, because we know the rebels that were funded there. Okay. That being said, because it's so infuriating. Like, I get so upset. Like, it blows my mind that we're sitting here. It's just 1984. It's all this double think and double speak. And we've got King Abdullah, and we're sitting here praising the guy. And he was involved in funding these people that were calling these mass murders. It's insane.
Absolutely.
It's insane. Like, George Orwell nailed it on the head. It's crazy. I can't get my head around it. And then I was, I don't know if y'all have heard the past couple of days too, speaking of the Middle East, there were some phone conversations between Gaddafi's son and Dennis Kucinich about the situations going on in Libya. And he was talking about how all the quote-unquote freedom fighters were basically just terrorizing the people of Libya, and they were on TV every night. And guess who was funding them? NATO.
Wow.
Right.
You know, first off, let's go ahead and go. Let's rewind this for a second. The fact that Gaddafi, or Gaddafi's son, was on the phone with anybody from America having a actual any kind of dialogue whatsoever is crazy enough if you want to get down to it.
And he sounded like a very sincere guy explaining the situation, and Kucinich really seemed to absorb what he was saying and absorb the information. But it just goes to show you that you see one thing and there's something completely different going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it in Syria. We've seen it in Iraq. We've seen it in Libya. We've seen it everywhere. Okay, we've got Egypt that just sentenced 183 people to death at one time.
Wow.
One time. And that's a whole involved story, but that's a military coup. We're supporting. That's fine. Whatever. Saudi Arabia, beheading people. Over 80 people beheaded last year. That's fine. Obviously, the United States views Russia as their enemy in some way. There's already been discussions about us arming Ukraine. That's on the table. That hasn't really come out yet in the mainstream media, but that's coming. I don't know if it ever will really come out, but they're already talking about doing it. And look, there's a video out of what appears to be, he's definitely American, and he appears to be a private contractor pretending to be a member of Ukraine's army. So more than likely, there's a lot of United States private contractors already there in Ukraine, because there's already one been caught on video.
Yeah.
That's already involved in the conflict, because we can't keep our nose out of anybody's business. How dare us we have to tell everybody what to do. We have to tell every country what to do. We have to tell every person what to do. You have to be vaccinated because we said so. This country's getting out of line. We have to get involved. Yeah. And this is, quote unquote, the land of freedom and hope and opportunity. Give me a break. This is the land of, we're going to get in your business now. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Because we love you. They're just like a preacher, like from the 70s, some televangelist. They're like a televangelist. It's Jim Jones. It's not even that. We love you. It's a cult is what it is. Mm-hmm. Look, Back to American Sniper. Cultish behavior. The
Yeah.
people just follow.
Yes.
It's the same mentality. We're here to take care of you.
I'm ready to take me down some towel heads now that I've seen American
Yeah,
Sniper.
buddy. That's what they want
Yeah.
you to think. We
Yeah.
love you. They're the enemy. I'll protect you, though.
Yeah.
Look at my pinky ring and keep giving me your money.
Yeah.
I love you.
Mm.
Just look at me in the eyes. I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're stabbing you in the back.
Mm.
It's sick, and it's a culture that's been created through a form of patriotic worship. You'll be taken care of. They love you. They love you. They love you. They love me. I know they love me.
Oh, yeah.
I sleep warm every night
Oh,
knowing
yeah.
the U.S. government loves me.
Yeah.
Before I bought into the U.S. government, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. But now I've been found. I believe in the government. They're going to tell me what to do. I'm going to follow the U.S. government. I'll be saved because of the U.S. government.
God loves his children.
Oh, man. U.S. government, they love you. Is it a coincidence that government and God both start with the letter G?
No.
No,
No.
it's not. So, let's jump over to the 77th Brigade that's being created. It's going into effect in April over in the UK with these Facebook warriors. Yes, sir.
NSA. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, we're talking about England. I'm sorry.
Well,
No,
it's
my
been
bad.
going on here, and the side's been doing it for a while, the IDF, blah, 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 blah.
Well, they're the NSA is a silent killer. This is actually a whole campaign that the UK has come up with, and they're letting everybody know.
Yeah,
exactly
it's psychological
what's
operations. They're not afraid to
Absolutely.
admit it. 1,500 people are going to be in this unit. Not afraid to admit it. They're just like, yep, this is about to happen. Because we love you. That's it. It just always goes back to that. The government loves you. Period. I just feel so warm inside.
happening.
I feel so good.
Yeah.
I feel so good that I know they're spying on me. I know they're watching me when I sleep.
Yeah.
I know they're watching me every time I get online.
Well, it's not about watching you.
They're protecting me. They're
Push that,
protecting me.
push that out of your
They're
mind.
keeping me safe.
This is about watching them other people that are trying to do you harm, that are trying to do you harm, that are trying to do you harm. Everybody we are talking about the UK for a moment, but this also correlates to what's going on with the NSA.
Oh, it all ties in. It's already been happening here.
Absolutely.
And they're going to... What's so amazing to me is they're just open and honest about the fact we're just going to be conducting psychological operations online, social media. Big deal. Deal with it.
Well, it's like a dear friend of mine said a long time ago. I would prefer my racist to have hoods on their heads. And
Unfortunately, it doesn't always work
like
that
it or
way.
not, the UK has come out and said, no, we're not going to hide it. We're not going to let anybody suppose this, that, or the other. We're going to go ahead and step forward and say, straight up, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like it or not, we're doing this for your own good. Pat you on the back. See y'all around the corner. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we're listening.
Yeah, speaking of listening, NYPD sure had to do some listening this
Yes,
week.
they did.
Because Commissioner Bill Bratton last week said, we're going to have the strategic response force. They're going to be out of protest. We're going to have machine guns. We're going to be patrolling. We're going to be taking care of business. And then all of a sudden, Backtrack City.
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. We're not going to be patrolling the protest. Sorry about that.
And this right here, again, is why
That's the power of the people.
I love participating in this broadcast and what anti-media's got going on. This right here is a perfect example of what people getting up and speaking their mind and doing what needs to be done for the truth to get out there. This is the end result. The end result is something as powerful and as large as the NYPD, which, come on, man, we're not talking about some little podunk police department down the street. We're talking about freaking NYPD. Come
Absolutely.
on now. That's big time. That really is big for them to take a step back and realize that they're going the wrong way with this thing. And I think, I don't know, maybe the tipping point was the Eric Garner decision and the backlash that came from it. Maybe
As it should have.
and maybe it was a lot of the backlash from the way that NYPD handled the Occupy movement. I mean, come on, there was a lot of press about that, a lot of bullshit that NYPD actively participated in.
Let me read the quote real quick because I just find it hilarious. It's from James O'Neill. He's the Chief Department of NYPD. Speaking on the Strategic Response Force, he said, they will not be involved in handling protests and demonstrations. They'll have no role in protest. Their response is single-fold. They'll be doing counter-terror work. They'll be assigned to different posts throughout the city.
Yeah.
So, beep, 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 back it up.
And again, though, and maybe this is because I'm cynical because of what we've been through and where we're at in 2015. Maybe I read a response like that and say, okay, well, maybe that's a little bit of spin that, okay, we're not doing what you think we're going to do. We're going to do this.
Oh, they're still probably going to try to do it. I don't think they won't.
Of course they will. They're a police department in America.
But they had to put their tail between their legs for at least for a day and say, the people have spoken. The people of New York, should be applauded for actually saying, what?
And again, this is the optimist in me. I'm not going to say that they put their tail between their legs. I'm going to say that they actually listen to the American people,
the
residents of New York, and realize maybe they're making a heavy-handed step.
Well,
that's what I would like to believe.
I hope I would like for you to be right, but it's like Syria. Look at this. Last year, they were telling us if we didn't go, or in 2013, I guess, we're telling us if we didn't go to war with Syria, the world was going to end. We're all going to be dead. They're gassing people. And guess what? The people spoke up. It didn't happen, and the world didn't end.
I did get gas today, and it was down at the service station.
Well, you can think.
Luckily, it cost me.
There's a lot of people that want to take credit for that, but I believe that Saudi Arabia putting the pressure on Russia and saying it's never going to be over $100 a barrel again. Meanwhile, you've got 2 weeks before George W. was elected, and he's hanging out with Prince Abdullah at the time. And it was $110 a barrel right before the election. Right before the election, down to like $20-something a barrel.
I have to ask you, though, and you, as an informed, intelligent person, do you think that gas will be back at $100 a barrel this same time, or maybe a little bit later next year? I think maybe not quite 100, but I think it's going to be close. I really do.
They're going to jerk the price around, but I think right now, there's a lot of economies that are suffering from this, and I think that certain people have things to gain because of that, because the production is so high right now in Saudi Arabia, and they're saying, and the United States did surpass Saudi Arabia in oil production, and we can't, ignore that fact. That's true, but at the same time, if you can go buy the exact same hamburger from one place to another place, and they're the exact same hamburger, it's not going to be necessarily the genetically modified garbage McDonald's is selling, but two quality things that are exactly the same. Are you going to go to the place that's selling it for 99 cents, or are you going to go to the place that's selling it for $2.99? You're going to go to the place that's selling it for 99 cents. So as long as Saudi Arabia keeps their prices driven down, they've got a lot of people bent over that barrel.
Yeah. Well, but with our current situation, we're going to be bent over the barrel anyway.
Well, too late.
Until we get to a situation where we're looking for alternatives other than the traditional gas and oil situation with our cars.
Okay, so let's jump back on the vaccine debate.
Oh man, I'm not autistic. I'm good.
1 in 68 children in the United States are, though. 1 in 68. Do you know that has gone up? It's increased, I think, by like 30% in like a 2-year period of people that are autistic now.
Yeah.
Why could that be? Why could that be? That being said, 0 people dead from the measles in the past 10 years. CDC admits it. 0.
Yeah. Even with the higher number of people that are not choosing to have their children vaccinated.
Were the government mandating these vaccines for the past 10 years?
We need to look that number up. So we really do need to look that number up and
Where,
find out
where,
what percentage of parents are not purposely.
I don't know if
not
you could. I don't know if you could
vaccinated.
actually. That's a good question. I
And
don't
that's
know.
Probably a number.
That would be
that's not-
great. I don't think you could ever
That's
find
a number that's probably it's stored somewhere.
Well,
but it's
because of the
probably
way
not
society is now, it's not something a lot of people vaccinate or are going to advertise because you hear, oh, look,
So wait,
Rand
whoa, whoa,
Paul
whoa.
said you should have a choice. That's it. He didn't, like, there's a picture of him today on Facebook getting his booster shot. Like, he's getting vaccinated today to say, look, vaccines aren't bad. I'm just saying you should have a choice. Like, he didn't even say don't get vaccinated. He just said you should have a choice and it should be government mandated, and they wanted to crucify the guy.
And that's absolutely huge. The fact that fewer people are vaccinated, yet the number of autistic children that are coming up are rising.
Right. Well,
'Cause, I mean, both are very well.
but you got to remember too is that children today have way more vaccinations in their, I guess, their schedule. They're scheduled. Whereas
you can't enter a public school, you can't
right.
enter a university.
Whereas kids used to get a certain,
there's
it was under 10 vaccinations, whatever it was. Now it's like 30, 40.
And there's a lot of situations you can't get into unless you're vaccinated.
You've got to be vaccinated for everything.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing about the government. If the government told me, if they came out tomorrow and said, we have a vaccine and it's got the cure for cancer and it's got the cure for AIDS and it'll give you a 200 IQ and it'll cure sunburns for the rest of your life. You know what? Because they're making me do it, I wouldn't trust it. What have they done to make me trust them at any point in my life? And people so want to pick and choose when and where they believe the government. Well, I don't believe them about this, but I believe them about this. They can't even balance a budget. You think they're going to manage your life for you?
Well, and there's also the possibility that, there are certain people that have this sort of predisposition, so we need to go ahead and test for that, go ahead and figure it out, and then once we're going to go through the first round of vaccinations. The second round of vaccinations is going to have that one little key because we've already tested this person. We know that they're going to dissent.
Here's an idea: freedom. How about that? So speaking of freedom. Let's talk about the wonderful geniuses at Fox News and your
Megyn Kelly. That's
your
my baby right there.
Girlfriend Megyn Kelly.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. As long as that girl keeps her mouth shut, she is hot.
She's an idiot.
I don't mean to be misogynist, but yeah, watch that girl with the sound off, and really,
she's just. She's still infuriates me.
It's rated PG porn.
I even know when she's on mute, there's some moronic things coming out of her mouth. So, these are the people on Fox News that are small government. Listen, small government. Small government. This isn't MSNBC. They're not trying to tax you to death. That's small government. Fox News loves you.
I got sense. I don't need any government.
Listen, so Fox News, they're against Big Brother, right? They're against MSNBC. They're against Obama. They're against all that.
Yeah.
So, Megyn Kelly says some things do require the involvement of Big Brother. Speaking on vaccinations, some things do require the involvement of Big Brother. And Bill O'Reilly followed it up with, sometimes they do. Then he went tonight on some diatribe or whatever he went on about Rand Paul again. Yeah. Give me a break. How do people keep believing this crap?
Mr. Gibson, don't talk about my baby. First off.
Oh my gosh. How many vaccines have you had? To believe it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So they want everybody to be vaccinated. Okay, so we're in the state of Alabama right now. There's a city in Alabama. It's called Tuskegee. It's a college, famous college.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Something about syphilis? Did that happen?
No,
Yes.
man, we apologize for that, dude. No,
So we apologize for it. It's okay.
Whoa. Once you say you're sorry, it never happened.
Well, so we apologize. We didn't, inject black men with syphilis. That didn't happen.
That didn't
All right.
happen. We apologize.
We apologize.
It's over.
Oh,
It's
you're
over,
right.
man.
Fair enough.
You're dredging up the past.
Our government would never do things like that.
Yes.
Our government would never do that.
All day long. They do.
We had MK Ultra on record in Congress in the 70s openly talking about it. Mind control.
Long after the fact.
And then they don't do that anymore.
No,
That was a long time
No,
ago.
That was a different time. It was a different era.
Nixon was in office. He was a crook.
No. You heard him say it. He's not a crook.
He did. Hey, he got pardoned.
He did.
He got pardoned.
A guilty person does not get pardoned.
No, you're correct. Thank you, Gerald Ford, for stepping up to the plate. I tell you what, I just don't know what I would do without these politicians thinking of my best interest. Because
I am so glad they're there.
I'm telling you, because I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I get out of bed in the morning. And I look over and see my American flag. And I see my picture. I've got a picture of all the politicians, all 535 members of Congress, Joe Biden and Barack Obama. And I just look at them and say, whew, I can make it through the day because I know y'all are watching out for me.
I encourage anybody that's listening to this right now to get up in the morning and immediately grab your smartphone or your laptops or tablets or however you do your social media in the morning and go to any website and end it with .gov. You're going to be so much better for it. You really are.
It will.
Y'all, you don't know how much you're suffering until you see this.
The government loves you.
No.
That's it. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Drape yourself in red, white, and blue.
If it weren't for John Denver, I would have never planted a tree. I'm just saying.
If it wasn't for John Kerry, I don't even think I'd still be alive. Thank you.
You both represent. Yeah.
My gosh. And this is what's so sad is this is all, complete satire and sarcasm. There's people like this.
It really is.
There's people like this. They don't say it. They're not open about it because it's so ingrained and they don't know any better. They turn on Fox News and they get what we're talking about. That's what they turn into.
Yes.
They go watch American Sniper. That's what they turn into. Goodness.
We live in Alabama. We see this every day. Really,
it's everywhere, dude.
Unrelenting.
It's everywhere.
I know, and that's a sad part.
Listen, when I lived up in Seattle, it was the same side, different side of the same coin. Because it was all Obama. Obama's going to save you. Obama's going to save you. How's that worked out for everybody?
Man.
It hasn't. They're all cut from the same cloth.
About the same as when everybody down here was saying Bush is going to save you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're all cut from the same cloth.
Exactly.
How dare any of these people sit here and say, we're going to go bomb ISIS, and then turn around and say, George W. was a good president. He was holding hands with Prince Abdullah. Oh, they were just having a good time down in Texas. Down in Crawford.
They were just
a little go-kart. Just good times.
Yeah. Just friends.
Yeah. They weren't just funding ISIS.
No.
The people you hate.
No, man, calm down with all that.
15 of the 19 hijackers went to Saudi Arabia.
No.
That didn't happen.
No, they were just highly yellow.
They were something. I don't know. How dare, it's all double think. People don't even get what's going on, and it's right in front of their face. Open your eyes to reality. Look, it's not like some great awakening that needs to take place. It's just paying attention to what they're saying.
Instead of logging on to Hulu and Netflix, you need to log on to actual news sites and then go ahead and look at the news sites and then take it a step back even further and cross-reference and re-reference and look at this and look at that and so on and so forth.
It's all out there. All the information's out there.
And it's so easy to obtain now. It really is. Ignorance is an absolute true, it's a choice.
Well,
ignorance is a choice.
They keep deflated footballs in people's lives to keep them distracted.
Deflated footballs. Don't bring that up now.
But listen, that's what they do. It's this story one week. Today it's the vaccine story. Why all of a sudden? Is this another Ron Paul character assassination? Is that what this is about? No. That they're trying to get rid of Rand now? Because I'm going to tell you something. if Rand is anything like his father, he will never, ever, ever, ever become president of the United States.
Yeah.
Ever. They're never going to allow that to happen. We're going to get a Jeb Bush. We're going to get Chris Christie, Marco Rubio, any of these people. So I think that'll be a testament to see how the media portrays Rand from this moment on. Because you know what? He said some things that I agree with and I like. And he said some things that just make me cringe. And I'm like, don't know about you. Don't think I can trust you. You know, we'll see where that goes. But when the media comes out, especially when Fox is coming out against the guy, more importantly, because that's, supposedly his bread and butter. That's the people that have been kissing up to him since his filibuster. And they're turning on him. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. We'll still have to wait and see. We'll still have to see where it goes. I don't think this country is going to be saved by any politician on any level. I think it's going to come from within us. I think it's going to be things like what just happened in New York, and it's going to be us as a people standing up to take care of the situation. Yeah. We can't rely on a ballot box when we have the power in ourselves to just stand up and do it.
Well, I mean, how long has it been since we could rely on a ballot box?
Well, right. And see, I think people use that as an excuse, and they make themselves feel like they did something and they were responsible. But it's really just placating the mind and saying, well, I did my duty. I checked the box.
Yeah,
but you didn't do your duty.
It speaks a larger truth that how many people did not vote in last year's, the last presidential election in 2012.
Quite a few, right? I think it was close to 60%.
Yeah, that's a vast majority. Not even a close majority, but a vast majority of Americans. And why are
it didn't matter.
Other than the fact that, there's a lot of Americans that have been incarcerated over the past 30, 40 years that suddenly can't vote anymore, that have had their rights stripped away from them.
Have a telephone call coming in from area code 708. Welcome to Anti-Media Radio. How are you doing this evening?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing good. What would you like to talk about tonight?
I'd like to talk about the 2016 election.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think it's a little bullshit that we're going to be stuck with two candidates like that.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too. I don't know any way around it. Looking at the elections last time, the Republicans gave different people, most of whom I couldn't stand, but there was always an alternative, and no matter what, they'd say, well, Romney's going to get it, so it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to shove that one candidate they want down your throat.
The way I look at it is, it looks like it's really like we're just deciding the fate of not just the country, but the entire world. Because it looks like if it's Jeb Bush, this is going to be another war over religion, Christian versus Muslims, that type of thing. Or next thing you know, it's going to be Hillary Clinton trying to take our guns, or martial law, or something like that,
Right. And the thing that's scary about both of those candidates, and they're both in Wall Street's back pocket, they're both heavily involved in the military-industrial complex. Even Hillary, despite her rhetoric.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm afraid that if you get really so many of the candidates, it's going to be the exact same thing no matter who you vote for.
Yeah, it really seems like that, definitely.
Do you feel like there is a candidate that you would vote for or consider voting for?
At this point, it's really hard to trust any politician. For the past 10 years I've been looking at it, it seems like it doesn't even matter anymore at this point. But if there was one, I have a little bit of hope in Ron Paul. But that's my personal preference.
I think Ron Paul is the best politician. Ron is, to me, the best politician we've seen in the past probably 20 years. I wouldn't even call him a politician. I think he was probably a horrible politician. I think he was a good leader because he stood by what he believed in. And I don't think he...
that's very true.
Yeah, and he was never for, giving it to the lobbyist. And I think that's, that a lot of the problem in Washington did it today. I don't think every member of Congress is wrapped up in some grand scheme. I think they're just all greedy and selfish and get bought off immediately by some corporation.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that.
But thank you so much for your call tonight, and I appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, I gotta ask the question though: if Ron Paul had actually been elected as the president of the United States, how long would he have been in office before he got shot?
24 hours.
Yeah, you're probably about right about that.
It would have never happened.
Yeah.
Look at Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy would have become president in 1968. So he went to a hotel in L.A. in June.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. Because they knew he was going to win. So if Ron Paul would have ever had any real momentum, I really believe that they would have done something about it.
Yeah, true that.
But, you know, they assassinated his character and called him crazy and called him a loon and blah, blah, blah. And again, was Ron Paul the savior of this country? No, he wasn't, but I think it was a big step.
It was a step in the right direction. Yeah,
exactly.
You're absolutely right.
I do think it was, and I think it was a step in the right direction to bring the troops home as far as dealing with the Federal Reserve, as far as having some personal responsibility for ourselves and being fiscally responsible, as far as getting the government out of our lives and telling us what to do, how to think. We would definitely not be having this vaccine debate if Ron Paul was president. I can tell you that right now. Wouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah.
He's not going to, you know, and the guy was a doctor, OBGYN. He's not still going to say the government should tell you to do something because the government doesn't know what's best for you. You know what's best for you.
Yeah.
Now, just because I don't agree with it, that doesn't mean it's not what's best for you.
Yeah.
My opinion shouldn't matter in what you do with your life. And that's the problem, is that people check a box because these people know how to run my life better than me. That's what people think. They're going to take care of me. They're going to make sure I get my paycheck. They're going to make sure that I get my money every month. They're going to make sure I get vaccinated. They're going to make sure we bomb the right people. They would never do anything wrong.
Never.
I checked the box.
Never.
I checked the box. I did my duty.
Straight party line.
I went to a ball game and I stood up during the national anthem. I took my hat off and I checked the box. I did my duty as an American. And I shook a soldier's hand.
Yeah.
That's it. That's America right there. That's how they believe. They want to go get weepy out at a Clint Eastwood movie. Guess what? You've been suckered. Do you all feel like you've been cheated? You should, because you have been. You've all been sucked into the vortex of lies. That's what the United States has become. Because people believe that the government used to lie. Well, some of them lie. Well, they all lie. They all lie. They lie to this day. They lied 40 years ago. They still lie now. Republicans really believe, well, when Democrats are in office, it's just terrible. And Democrats believe, well, when Republicans are in office, it's terrible. It's always the same. It's always the same. What's different? The NSA was spying on you under George Bush. It's spying on you under Barack Obama. There is no difference. They just rounded off the R and made it a D next to his name. And you checked your box so you could sleep at night and feel good about yourself. So you know you did your duty. You didn't do anything. If you want to do your duty, you speak out against what's going on in this country right now. You stand up and say, I'm not going to stand for it. You know what? These people are scared of you. Speak out in mass. Tell these people we're sick of the wars. Threaten them with their jobs. Say, you know what? You're not going to get elected next time. We're not going to be voting for you. Call and say those words because it's not frivolous. They backed down against Syria, they backed down in New York, and they'll back down again. Have a good evening, and thank you so much for listening to Anti-Media Radio.
I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.